Couple of things before we get into this video. Number one, I am not an expert. I'm not smart. Anything that I say, for the most part, doesn't hold any weight because I don't provide evidence. But trust me, the evidence is out there. I'm just a motherfucker with experiences and a lot of friends and my own experiences. Number two, I don't want to see any of your little fucking, I hope she sees this, bro. She's not gonna fuck you, bro. I don't want to see that. This is not for no clout. This is not to look better. This is not for anyone who sees it says, oh my God, he's so thoughtful. I really want y'all to be better. And hopefully this gets into your fucking brain. And lastly, Alex, Queen of the Ring, made a video about this subject, and I'd highly implore you to check that video out, as well as videos from other marginalized genders. While sexual assault can happen to any gender, any race, anybody, we can all admit that it tends to be done by men to marginalized genders. So please seek out their perspective and their words and listen to them. I talk about why men will listen to other men and white people listen to other white people, etc., later on, but please go watch those videos and seek out other people's opinions and their stories. Enjoy it. Now you can watch the video. It was good, man. I was in bed scrolling through TikTok, and this TikTok about Dark Side of the Ring came up, and it was this TikTok of Tommy Dreamer talking about his experiences and all the stuff with the plane. And like an idiot, I did what I usually do with TikToks, and I went to the comments. I went through these comment section, and it was just a bunch of motherfuckers like, man, Ric Flair didn't do anything wrong, bro. It was 20 years ago, bro. Man, I can't believe Tommy Dreamer got suspended for this shit. I started doing this thing that I do, and I just started venting to my ceiling. You know, it really fucking irked me. And so I just decided to make this video instead, because maybe, just maybe, it will do some good. Let me just preface this by saying that, unfortunately, in the world we live in, a lot of the marginalized groups, when they talk about their experiences and present their experiences and their feelings to the non-marginalized groups in the matter, their voices aren't heard. Or maybe they're heard, but they're straight up like thrown away, like it doesn't matter. So for example, right, in a lot of BLM and Black Lives Matter and then all this stuff that's been going on with black people and just blackness in general, some white people and some other races will hear me talk about and complain about it and assume that because I'm black or I'm a part of the group that is voicing their concern, that I'm speaking from a victim mindset. You understand? They'll assume that I'm just complaining or that I hate whitey, which I do. I could lay out all these points about like gentrification and police brutality and all this shit, and they'll just fucking throw it to the side. But if a white person says these things, they're straight up like, oh wow, you know what? That actually might make sense. So since this is a matter that has to do with sexual assault and marginalized genders, and of course sexual assault can happen to anyone regardless of gender, race, whatever have you, but in this instance, it is about sexual assault to a woman, and a lot of men are sitting here saying, I don't fucking get it. So unfortunately, maybe I have to say and echo these things that people have been saying that you don't want to listen to. And I wish I didn't. And maybe this is fucking, maybe I shouldn't even say a fucking thing, but it fucking irks me. So first things first, Tommy Dreamer got suspended from this incident. He was on Dark Side of the Ring, and his comments ended up getting him suspended from Impact indefinitely. So let me remove every human emotion that I can, and let me talk as a business if I was Impact Wrestling. Now, if someone that is in a high position in my company, actually, if someone is in any position in my company, is getting flamed on the internet for his dumbass opinions about sexual assault and sexual misconduct and all this shit, guess what? No matter what, I am distancing and punishing that person because I do not have the time or the energy to waste on that. Any sensible company would do this. If someone has allegations or if someone's saying something bad and the whole internet is flaming them, any sensible company would be like, let me take a step back. Now you might be like, well, WWE, AEW, Impact is not those places. They have had a hard time building a good reputation. So just as a fucking business, you gotta go, sport. Sorry. Now let's bring the human aspect into this. First things first, Tommy Dreamer didn't say anything wrong, bro. You didn't do anything wrong. He did. Tommy completely invalidated Shorty's experiences, not just her experiences, but everyone that's on this fucking plane ride. And it kind of just boils down to, hey, it's Ric Flair, bro. He just likes to whip his cock around.
Ric Flair is not going to try to impose by force any sexual stuff onto anybody. He's just flaunting, styling and profiling, doing like the Ric Flair stuff where everybody's going to laugh about it.
Not only that, there's some points where he's just straight up like, yo man, if this was really a big deal to you, then why would you settle out of court?
If that's how she felt, maybe she should have not taken a payout and went to the fullest extent of the law to then truly put this heinous person in jail.
This is also a big point that I've seen a lot. And it just reminds me that y'all don't know how shit works at all. How time consuming it is to go to the law. I see this shit all the time. Well, if it was really that big of a deal and if you're really affected by it, if it was real, go to the law. Well, I'm sorry. I don't let the court of public opinion affect my viewpoint. I listen to the court of law. Shut the fuck up. God damn, nigga.
I guess that means you need to shut the up. That's what I do if I had no army. I would shut up. Shut the
I don't know if you think like the law works like Law and Order or fucking Judge Judy and they're 30-minute episodes and it's just done like that. This shit takes time, money, effort, and it causes a lot of trauma. You are sitting there having to relive whatever happened to you over and over, day by day, talking about it. It's also not free. It's fucking expensive. And I'm not talking like $400. Like I'm talking thousands of dollars for like lawyer fees or retainer fees. Money that motherfuckers do not have. On top of that, let's just say you got the money, you got the time, you got the effort. Bro, there is no guarantee that you putting all this out there and doing all the time will result in anything. In the case of this is a woman talking about her experiences with a bunch of grown men and almost no other witnesses except her other fucking stewardess, right? Who in this boys club is gonna be like, oh yeah, no, this actually happened? None of them. Please understand that whenever you see anyone go through a sexual assault case, your first instinct cannot be, well, why don't you just go to the police? Because it's not that fucking simple. I could go on and on and on and on for fucking hours about how the police system, the legal system, the court system is all fucked and none of it makes sense. But this is not the time nor the place. That should not be your first thing. Oh, you should have went to the law. You know how intimidating it is to fucking say, yeah, I'm gonna put this $1 million company into court? And this part isn't really like an offensive thing. It is kind of offensive. It is kind of fucking just dumbass behavior. But he also kind of minimizes it to just cancel culture. This is not that. This is not fucking cancel culture. And I can't stand these old motherfuckers or these super idiotic, like Joe Rogan listening motherfuckers are like, oh, this shit, cancel culture so bad. What? Are you with what? I'd actually argue that in most instances these days, somebody coming forward about sexual assault negatively impacts them more than the motherfucker that they're accusing. I've seen more shorties get fired or not be used, if we're talking about wrestling, for speaking about their experiences than the motherfuckers that actually did the shit. You know? On top of that, 99% of the time a nigga gets accused of sexual assault, all their fans go to flood their messages like, yo bro, I believe in growth and you fighting these battles and all this shit. And then they go to the motherfucker that accused them, hey, fuck you, man. Fuck you, you fucking bitch. I've seen it time and time again. I see it almost every fucking week. I see abusers come back and welcome with open arms like nothing ever fucking happened. And then the part that really fucking irks me is like, he just whipped his cock out, man. All these days you're offending everybody. This hairstyle is offending somebody.
Today, 1000% inappropriate. My hairstyle is inappropriate right now. I am somehow offending someone right now.
Is this not wild to you? Like, it's one of those things like, yeah, man, everyone's just so offended by fucking everything. You are talking about sexual assault. You are talking about, I'm trying to force myself onto somebody. I'm showing somebody my cock and balls, not your fucking hairstyle. That's the shit that fucking just, oh my God, bro. At the end of the day, the Tommy situation is fucking stupid. It made no sense to defend this sexual assault. And people have been saying, oh, this is assault. Sexual harassment, if you think that word is too harsh, but it was definitely sexual assault. Regardless, sexual assault, sexual harassment, there was no reason to defend it or just kind of minimize it at all. And if I'm somebody that works at Impact, how am I supposed to expect you in your position to take anything seriously? The second thing I see a lot is, this was 20 years ago. Why you guys always trying to bring up old shit, bro? Da, 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 da. All these stories need to be told because this is a culture, specifically in this niche, in this sport community, but also just in general that always exists. And you kind of need to dismantle this shit that continues to go on by telling these stories. As much as wrestling has changed from people doing coke and shitting in bags and whipping their dicks out to people just playing video games, it is still a culture that exists. It is still sexual assault that exists. It exists in major companies, I'm sure. It exists on an independent level, and it exists outside of wrestling in every fucking community, everything. And stories like this kind of highlight that it happens anywhere, and it can happen and be done by anyone. So it is very important. Some people say, well, then we've known about the plane ride from hell for 20 years. Why are we talking about it now? Because every time I've ever heard about the plane ride from hell, it's been a joke.
The one in the middle, the blonde, bodacious tatas. She might as well have a neon sign on her forehead saying, Nature Boy.
Because you hear it from a bunch of dudes. You hear it from a bunch of people on the plane. Oh man, this dude was so wild and drunk, took his cock out. And when you fucking sit here and hear the perspective of someone that was actually dealing with it.
They say, you know, it wasn't that bad. You're okay, aren't you? And now you have to live with a pain or a memory of something that you didn't bring about. And that takes some work.
And had trauma from it, maybe you'll look at it from a little bit differently as to why this story needs to be told differently. This is a weird thing because everything on Dark Side of the Ring was from the past. Like, you don't see this for anything else. They talk about people dying and people getting killed and all this. You don't say, well, bro, why are you bringing this up now, bro? This was in 1976, bro. I don't care. No, this is you niggas every week for 3 seasons ate this shit up. The second a woman is like, yeah, I was sexually assaulted, you're like, oh, okay. Why are you bringing it up now? You want, like, nigga, shut up. These stories are very important, regardless of how long ago they happened, because they indicate a pattern, and these patterns happen to this fucking day. And we would hopefully like this pattern to stop, where women don't have to get sexually assaulted and sexually harassed and bothered and could be fucking safe. I think a lot of you niggas don't really understand how hard it would be to see somebody that harassed you every day on the internet and on TV shows and on getting celebrated. I also don't think you motherfuckers understand how hard it is to tell your story about something and then have someone dismiss it. And I've seen that far too often. I've seen it almost every fucking week in this community. I've seen it time and time again. And this is just another example of it. They treat it like a joke because you only get the perspective of the boys that were on the plane. But the second you have to hear from the perspective of a woman that had to have 280-pound men around them and getting into corners and getting told that you're gonna have sex with me and all this stuff, it's a different fucking story. It wasn't just a fun little trip for these people. It was a fucking plane ride from hell. And the final point that I want to make is just, it's a very general point, but it's not just this, it's about a lot of things that I see younger people say, and it's people that are fed up with this like cancel culture, fucking liberal, you know, a lot of this shit, and it's like minimizing shit, right? And it's a lot of what like Tommy did in that video. It's minimizing major actions and pretending that it's just normal or it's just a joke or it's just something that's not that big of a deal. There's so much of this episode that's really fucked up, and I think the worst thing that happens is that people dismiss it and they look at it as like just another example of cancel culture when it's fucking not. And this is just an example of something that happens every fucking day at every level, regardless of whether the person's a celebrity, regardless if it's in wrestling, regardless of whatever. It happens far too fucking often. It's a common trend that I see on TikTok, I see it on Twitter. A lot of men that are kind of removed from like the typical super progressive, liberal, cancel culture fucking side of the internet do a complete 180 because they're so fed up with this idea that everything is getting canceled and everything is bad and evil. They do this fucking 180 and they go like fucking damn near alt-right, and they just they are very, very okay with sexual assault, racism, like real hardcore like prejudice and offensive shit just because they think that the other side is too pussy. I understand some niggas on the other side are are a little bit too sensitive, but you can't do this 180. And the real fucked up thing is that there are a lot of older dudes that are saying the same shit, but there are a lot of young, impressionable young men reading it. A lot of 14, 16, 17, 18 year olds that are dealing with a lot of young women that are seeing you say this is not a big deal, and they're saying it's not a big deal. So then they'll do the same thing to these younger women, and there are 20 year olds that'll do the same thing with a lot of these younger women, and 24 year olds they'll do with our 24 year olds, and it's a chain reaction, and now you are instilling behavior in young men that it is okay. Not everything is an issue of cancel culture. Sometimes niggas from a long time ago did some real fucked up shit, and we have to acknowledge that they did fucked up shit and that it's fucked up of them to not acknowledge it. Sometimes there are consequences for actions, even if those actions were 20 years ago. And that's just something you have to deal with. I don't know. I probably shouldn't have made this video, but it fucking irked me to no end and I couldn't sleep. Please have more of an open mind with this shit, bro. Like, I can't really put it into words, but you niggas do not understand how hard it is for any victim of sexual assault, regardless of their gender identity, their race, their whatever the fuck, to come forward about it. Not just come forward about it, go to the police about it, handle it to the law. There are barriers in place to make this difficult. Personal, professional, financial, emotional. It is hard to go through all of these steps and understand that your behavior and your words is an additional barrier. Every time that somebody scrolls TikTok or Twitter and they see your comments saying like, just another person trying to fucking get somebody's money, another gold digger. Why didn't you just go to police? Well, I don't believe this shit. Mentally, they're like, oh shit, I should just shut the fuck up. And they don't want to talk because they're afraid of how people are going to react if they share their story. You can't say you want things to get better because your behavior and your actions directly impact other people. I don't know. I'm not no expert on this shit. I'm just a nigga that pays attention. And I wish you niggas would stop. And that is all. Ta-ta. Yes.